this one song called Breaking My Focus that every
Love,
time
by the way. Love it.
Do you know what's insane about that song?
What?
I didn't like it.
Really?
And your questions were like top tier. Like, seriously, top tier.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was really worried because my stomach was rumbling really bad at the end, and I was like, oh my God, I pray the microphones do not pick this up. I'm dying.
Oh, even if it does, just put it at the bottom. Sorry about the rumbling.
Yeah, sorry about the rumbling.
Hi, this is Hazel Mak, and you are tuned in to After the Applause. Enjoy the podcast. This is After the Applause.
Hiya guys, welcome back. It's Monday, so you know what that means, a new episode of After the Applause. Hi, if you're new here, this is After the Applause, and my name is Saoirse Marie. This is a podcast highlighting and platforming underground artists, events, everything grassroots within the north of England in the live music scene. We talk to a variety of people that work within the live music scene, ranging from artists to promoters to managers, and it's a podcast to platform these people and make you more aware of what goes on behind the scenes and allow you to discover new events and artists in your area too. Today, we've got a very special guest. I am so excited to introduce this guest. She is one of my favourite artists at the moment. I was literally singing her songs earlier before I started recording this, and yeah, I'm so excited. Today's guest is Hazel Mak. Hazel Mak is an afrobeats amapiano artist who was born in Malawi and moved to the UK in 2000. She spent most of her life living in the UK, but she's always stayed true to her Malawian roots. And she shows and platforms that through her music. We had such a laugh filming and recording this together and catching up and hearing about everything that she's up to. She is such a breath of fresh air, and you can just tell from her whole aura and demeanour that she really stands on her beliefs and she knows what she's about, and she's just got wisdom beyond her years. Genuinely, you're going to listen to this and you're going to be like, wow, she really holds herself well and carries herself with such grace and care and confidence. She's going to become one of your favourite artists too, trust me. I first discovered Hazel Mak through her song Saka Saka. It was introduced to me through another friend, and I just became obsessed with the song and looked into her music more. And then one night at an event, I met her and I was just like, oh my God, you're Hazel Mak. I was literally listening to you in the car on the way here, and she was so lovely and so friendly when I first met her. I was just like, I have to get you on the podcast and share your story. So we'll just get straight into it. In this conversation, me and Hazel spoke about her Malawian roots and how she felt when she first started out as an artist in the UK and the support she felt. Her move from London to Manchester that she made 4 years ago, and her thoughts on the music scene within Manchester now and all the future plans she's got coming up. She's also the founder of Malawian Girls Rock, so we spoke a little bit on the organisation and the purpose for that. Of course, we started the interview with the all-important question, what was the first gig she ever went to? Now, she didn't quite remember the first gig she ever went to, but she remembers one that really stuck with her and is an iconic moment that has helped shape her music career.
Probably not the first gig, but something that really made a difference for me as an artist and as a creative. It's probably the day I became a Beyonce fan. I went to see Beyonce and I was just like, what? This is insane.
Yes.
Yeah, so I went to see Beyonce and decided I'm not doing enough as an artist.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and as a performer, so
it really changed you and your kind of music career, I guess.
yes, it really did.
Amazing.
It really did, yeah.
Love that. So, speaking of your music career, you've been performing since the age of 11, and I want to know, what is one thing or one lesson that's stuck with you since you started performing that you kind of implement into all of your live sets and live performances?
I think I'd definitely say being your most authentic self as a person and also as a creative and as a performer. And I say this because finding my authentic self has been such a long journey, because you have artists that you look up to, and you have the artists that you think you are in your head, and then the artists that you actually are. So, yeah. So finding my voice within all of that has been such a journey. And I can honestly say in all of my years, like performing and writing music, I just feel like myself now. I feel like my authentic self now. And I feel like I'm representing myself in the most authentic way that I can. Yeah.
It's amazing. So it kind of allows you to not just improve as an artist and as a musician, but just allow you to kind of learn more about yourself in day-to-day life generally as well.
Yeah, because like music is a very personal thing for me. And I talk about this all the time, where I make music that I would want to listen to and music that should be uplifting. I appreciate other artists that make music that's, you know, depicting sad stories or like, you know, the normal, because life is not like all hunky-dory and everything. But I like to think of music as a form of escapism for me. And because I listen to other artists, and it's a form of escapism for me as well. So I like to create music that it's going to make you feel good about yourself. As a girl, it's going to make you feel sexy. As a man, you want to see a woman feeling like, you know, the best way that she possibly can. Does that even make sense? But yeah,
I understand.
like, you know, when you look at someone and they're having fun listening to a song and they're having the greatest time. Like, you're seeing someone like finding joy in music, and that's all I want to do.
You moved to the UK in 2000 from Malawi, and you lived in London before moving up to Manchester 4 years ago. I want to know, coming from Malawi and then coming from London, and also just being a woman, have you ever felt like you had to prove yourself as a musician?
Oh my God. All the time. I'm going to try and answer your question in two parts.
Okay.
There is being Malawian. I literally come from the smallest, not the smallest, but like a small country in Southern Africa. And like most people don't even know where that is. But I always say it's where Madonna adopts her babies from. Yeah. And when I say Madonna, they're like, oh, that Malawi. It's like, oh, which other Malawi? And like, is it an island? No. No, wrong. Coming from Malawi and moving to London and pursuing a music career, it was literally like trying to, I don't know, like find a needle in a haystack. Like nobody knew where I was from. No one understood the sound. And then it came to a point where I had to make a decision. Do I now start to make music that sounds like everyone else in order to fit in? But I'm stubborn. I didn't do that. I continued making music in vernac and English as well. Like vernacular is like some, depending on where you come from in Southern Africa, it's either Nyanja or like Chichewa. So I would mix the two, and I just kept releasing music. And then, you know, a couple of years later, amapiano came out, and then all of a sudden it was, oh, Southern Africans are cool. And I was like, what? We've always been here. But it's great to be in a space now where, as a Southern African, the moment you say I'm like Southern African, it's either you're Southern African or South African at the moment.
Okay.
But it's just nice to belong to something that's done so phenomenally well. And like never had any doubts, because we always had like afrobeats, we always had afro house, and we have people like Black Coffee pushing that, and he's been doing it so exceptionally well. And now we have Uncle Waffle, so it's just a really great time to be alive as a Southern African musician. So now to answer the second part of your question, being an African that had its like issues, and then also now being a woman, different issues. Now also being a Black woman, it was like an issue on top of another issue. But with all of these things being said, it made me work 10 times more. And every time I would feel like I've, hit a milestone, I would always have that sense of, that's not enough. You have to do more. And this idea of like doing more and doing more, it's exhausting. But at the end of the day, I had to make a decision and say, I'm doing this for the craft. I'm doing this to open doors for other like musicians that have felt like outsiders. I'm doing this for other girls that don't quite see themselves on TV, whether be it like their skin color or how they perceive the world or where they come from. I'm doing this for someone that's always felt like an outsider. So it's been hard, but I mean, someone's got to do it.
Since moving to London and moving to Manchester, and now amapiano is on the rise as well, before amapiano was as big as it is now, was the UK music community supportive towards your music and your craft?
They were only as supportive as far as they could understand the music, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because like I grew up in a time where being African wasn't cool. So imagine still pushing that you're African and not being validated as in like you're cool. And then we had people like Davido come out and people like Burna Boy come out, and all of a sudden being African was literally like the coolest thing, which was nice to have been alive and to have seen that transition and to continue to see like Africanness and just the vibe of just being African just blow up, and for people to be like, wait, you guys have always been like this, And personally for me, I talk about this all the time. When I see artists like Tyler, she's so authentically South African, and love to see that. Absolutely love to see that. Regardless of the fact that, I've been doing music for a long time, but to see an artist like Tyler to be so authentically herself and really not care about what anyone thinks, it just goes to show that this kind of artistry has been here for the longest time. But like, I don't know, someone was out there judging what's cool and what's not cool. And I feel like now there isn't that. People are making choices for themselves. And I think with like digital media and being able to publish yourself and publish your sound, like nothing is being held by just one person. Now, music truly feels like it's for everyone and anyone. And if you really feel like you have something to bring to the world, you can deliver it. So before, to answer your question, I feel like non-Africans wanted to hear it. I wanted to experience it, but it just wasn't like classed as something that was cool. So I feel like finally people can now just be like, hey, I like this. This is what I like. And I don't care. I can access it in any kind of way. So to say that there wasn't the support, I feel like the support was there, but now it's more on a global level and it's more on a human level where everyone's looking at it and they're like, you know what, I can resonate with this. I love this. I want to be part of this culture. Yeah.
If you were to talk to a young South African artist, male or female, that were just starting out, made a move to the UK or just made a move to Europe, or moved away from South Africa, or was still staying in South Africa, what advice would you have for them?
Remain as like unique as you possibly can. I feel like the way music is set up these days, it's not about who can belt the loudest, who has the highest soprano, or it's not about proving what you can do. It's really about creating something that people are going to stop and just be like, oh, that's different. Like, I like that. It's become more of an experience. Like, what experience can you give to people? And how does your music make them feel? And I say this because there's an artist that I absolutely admire. She's Southern African, Brenda Fassie. She's late now, but she made music that was well ahead of her time, and it was so different that now, years later, you listen to her music and you're like, this is Afro pop. She mixed her native language and like native instrumentals with 80s pop at the time. Like, if you are a true like musician or like musical like historian, you can literally hear the sounds of like Western sounds mixed up with Southern African sounds, and that what we're experiencing now has been happening for years. It's just like before, it was being controlled by like the record labels. They would tell you like what's hot and what's not, and now record labels don't have that like autonomy or like even the power to even suggest this is what's hot. And I feel like that's the battle happening right now. Like there's the majors, and then there's the creators that are creating music and creating niches. And we're living a time where you can literally just be a creative or an artist in your own on your own terms, and it's such a great time to be alive. And the one thing I'd say is make your music, be as authentic as you possibly can, make mistakes. All those like records that you go to the studio and you record and you're like, oh, that sounds a bit like I don't want to release that. Put it out there. Like, I found that I have this one song called Breaking My Focus that every time
by the way. Love it.
Do you know what's insane about that song?
What?
I didn't like it.
Really?
I did not like it. And Patrick, the guy that I was working with before, was like, it's such a great record, let's put it out. And like, I genuinely like everything about that. So, I mean, like, I don't know, I just didn't like it. And he had it mixed and mastered. I wrote the song, recorded it, he had it mixed and mastered, and then like when he played it back to me, I was like, maybe it has some potential. maybe. And he put it out, and like as we speak, it's my most streamed record. Like when I see my insights and stuff, and I'm just like, what are you people hearing? Like, I don't get it. Like, how is like my favorite is Saka Saka. It's like, why am I not getting the same like numbers on Saka Saka? I think Saka Saka is a great record. And it's just, yeah, people like sometimes as an artist, like what you hear, you may not like it, but you don't know how other people are going to react to it. As long as the energy that you're putting into it, like into that record, is good energy. Like, because one of the things that I like to do is like when I record a record, I want to mean what I'm saying. I want to, like, in the studio session, enjoy it, because I feel like as an artist and as a creative, like what the energy you put into a record will touch like whoever listens to it. It's like sort of like a DJ. If you're DJing from like good vibes, it's going to transcend into the crowd. So yeah, just be authentic. If you don't like it, someone's gonna like it. Put it out. Just there's no wrong or right. It's just music. It's art. Just do it. At the end of the day, you've done it. You've created this piece of art. Put it out there. Art is subjective. So like art, however way your creative medium is, it's art. Put it out there. There's someone out there that's bound to like it. Even if it's 2 people, that's 2 people good enough to like whatever you've put out.
We've kind of touched a bit upon how your musical journey's allowed you to kind of grow into yourself more authentically and everything. And I just wanted to focus on a particular song, Liya Ya. You brought out Liya Ya, the first one, in 2017, Liya Ya 2.0 recently this year. And the sounds from both tracks are very different. The style is quite different. So, you know, I mean, there's 8 years difference between the 2 of them. So obviously your style has changed. But how have you changed as a musician since the first Liya Ya?
When I first recorded the original Liya Ya, I was, remember we're talking about being in London and like still trying to like stick to my roots and not change. I worked with this amazing producer. He's also an artist called Chuka Royalty, and he's Nigerian. And he was like, you're Malawian. Like, so my first project, like he like produced like the whole project. And he was like, you're Malawian, like, we need to, like, one of the reasons why I wanted to work with you is because you're doing something different. So I want that different sound, like how you write, how you sound. I want you to put that forward. So we literally got into the studio, and Liaya came about because I literally made him listen to a lot of Brenda Fassie music. And he sat there and he was like, okay, you're making me listen to like 80s pop. I was like, no, it's 80s South African pop. Okay, you need to get it right.
Get it right.
Yeah. So he listened to a lot of that. And then I took him out to like a couple of Southern African nights just for him to sort of like gauge the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
After experiencing the sound and everything, he came up with Liaya and he made the beat. And I was like, this sounds so amazing. I don't know what to do on it. And we sat in the studio and came out with Liaya, and he was like, I want it to sound so, I don't want you to sing like you can sing. I want you to sing like you mean what you're saying and just sound like home. I want it to just be authentically you. We'll add some chichewa in there. Then took the beat home, and my mum was washing dishes, and she was like she was singing a song. She was like, Liaya, 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 like washing the dishes. I'm like, where's that from? Goes, oh, when we were kids, we'd go to the village and we'd dance around the fire, and one of us would like stop and we'd dance and like we'd sing like Liaya, Liaya, Liaya. And yeah, so it's like I wouldn't say it's just like a cultural song, not like a lullaby or anything like that. It's just like one of those things that you sing like when you're by the fire and you're back home. And I played her the beat and she was like, I can work. And then we started to write the song together. And that's how Liaya came about. Went back to the studio, recorded it, and I didn't want to release it because at the time I was working in the music industry in the background. So I was doing like PR and stuff. And I was in Malawi working on Two Faces tour. And they were like, oh, we need a support act. And my partner at the time, Wezi, we had this PR company together, and she was like, Hazel sings. We're not paying, like, she's going to do it. We don't have time. And I was like, wait, what? And yeah, so Two-Face came to Malawi. We did the whole like PR thing. And then he was given my record, and when he was like going like driving in to it was like the outdoor space. He was playing Liaya. Then we released it on radio, and then it just took a life of its own, and then all of a sudden I was an artist. Yeah. And fast forward 8 years later, it was my breakthrough record, and up until now it's so weird. Like I get notifications where people are like, it's 2025, who's here for, like, who's still here in 2025? And met Sin Sounds, who's like an amazing producer. And we were also meant to work on a new project together. And I said, no one like from back home has ever done this, like taken a song that like started their career and reworked it. And they're like all the like ad libs are like stuff that I usually sing over when I perform the original version. So we thought, let's revive it. At the time, afrobeats was what was working. Now it's piano. So let's make the same song for a new generation of people, and it's doing so well. It's really crazy, and it's crossed over to now a completely different market, and it's exciting. It's really exciting to see how far it goes, because with amapiano tracks you can release a track today and it will become a hit like 2 years later. So like it's growing on people, and I love that, and I love what it's doing by itself. And it's just nice to have something that brought so much joy and so much accolades and opened so much doors, to then be able to re-release it and create a different story and narrative for that record. Yeah.
Just to quickly kind of move away from your musical career, you're also the founder of Malawian Girls Rock. What instigated you building this platform?
Not being given a seat at the table. Like, being an artist I say I'm a Malawian artist, but I've grown up here in the UK and like other countries, and I've only lived in Malawi, I think probably like 3 years of my entire life. And I'm a Pan-African child. I've lived in a couple of African countries. And then after that, we moved here to the UK. So if anything, I've lived in the UK the longest. And it's always been sort of like a battle between, would I say I'm an African artist or would I say I'm like a Black British artist? It's always kind of been, are you one or the other? And you can't say no to both parts of yourself that make up who you actually are. So that's been quite difficult. But going back home and wanting to do, like, I love philanthropy. I do a lot of like philanthropic work. I care about my people. I care about the people around me, whether be it back home or whether be it here. Like, if I get the chance to go and do like youth talks here in the UK, I will go and do it. And even when I go back home, I love to be fully involved in my culture and like traditions and stuff. So being as outspoken as I am, and yeah, my mouth usually gets me in trouble. Yeah, I'm very loud about how women should be treated. I'm very loud about the rights that we should be given. I'm very loud about celebrating each other and just really enjoying our progress and just amplifying everything to do with women. So going back home, I was told, oh, you can't work on this UN project. You are too sexy. But then the same country will have Madonna that will come out in the UK newspapers with her breasts out. And that's her prerogative. Like, she's allowed to do that. But I'm Malawian. I can speak the language. I feel like I could do really well in a space where I can like encourage girls to like dream and become whoever they want to be, but I'm being told I'm not allowed to. And then when I actually ask the question, why am I not allowed to? There'll be like people saying stuff like, oh, you don't speak Chichewa, and I'm like, but I do. You haven't lived in Malawi long enough. So like I'm not Malawian enough, or like what is it? So that was really frustrating. And the ideas were there, like, we want your ideas, but we just don't want you. That's not acceptable. My ideas are my own. Like, no one can make those ideas come to life apart from me. So we're not doing that. And it's not from like it being coming from a selfish space. It's there's so much more that I could give apart from not just the idea. There's my time. There's like a personal touch to it. So I thought, well, if you won't give me a seat at the table, I'm building my own table. I'm tired. I'm not asking for permission to exist in a space that I have every right to be in. So yeah, created Malawian Girls Rock, and there's so many achievements that women in the Malawian entertainment business, not even just the entertainment, just like within every space, Malawian women exist in those spaces, but their stories aren't told. Their stories aren't celebrated as much as like the male counterparts. And like you find that there's a lot more women doing amazing, incredible work, but no one's shedding any light on that. No one is outrightly saying, hey, this is the narrative, this is what we're doing. Wow, just look at that. No one's doing that. And that was really frustrating. So I thought, well, let's create a table where outsiders, if you feel like you're an outsider, you can come and sit here. Let's build this space for us. And that's what Malawian Girls Rock is. And it's done so incredibly well that I no longer manage it. Like, it's managed by other like young women, other women that have said, I feel like I can do this. I'm like, go ahead, do it. The idea of it is for it to be like a side hustle. Like, if you have something to say, you want to write, you're creative, put it on there. At the end of the month, you get paid for it. Sometimes I read some of the articles that they write, and it's so profound. They're letting it out and they're getting on the forefront of their own narratives. All Malawian Girls Rock does is just amplify what's already there.
Tell me a bit about what plans you've got for the future for Hazel Mak and music.
I think maybe to become more immersed in the Manchester music scene and just be involved with people that are going to create more spaces for diversity. And when I say diversity, I don't mean it to say like racial diversity or anything like that. I just mean a diverse space where people can just come from anywhere and be whoever they want to be, and be in a safe space where they can be creative and explore their creativity and showcase their creativity. Creative art has become such a loud voice, and it's become such a huge communicator, like louder than language. Like it supersedes the barriers of language and the barriers of like lack of understanding. And yeah, just really to just immerse myself in spaces like that and further develop myself to be more than just a musician, to be more than just a creative, but even someone that's like a mentor, or to just to be present in the space that I choose to be in. And I'm so happy that Manchester is so accepting, and I personally feel like this is a place that I've had the most growth on so many like aspects. You know how women are like, there's so many like aspects of like who you are as a person.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So in every aspect of my life, Manchester has pushed me to grow, and I'm so excited to see how much like further Manchester's going to push me.
What is the purpose of your music and the main message that you want people to get from listening to you?
I'm a strong believer in being careful with the things that you speak of, like the words that come out of your mouth. And I make music that I want people to feel good with themselves. I want it to be the sort of medium that people can connect with, not just individually, but like in a space where if it's being played in a club, it makes them feel great. That's all I really want to do. Just want to leave something positive in the world. I mean, I have a son and I have him, right? But the music is gonna live like forever. And when he has his kids and then they have their kids, it's always gonna be that voice. That's what I'm recording and what I'm putting out. That's literally gonna live forever. And if something has forever written in it, it has to be something positive. It has to be something that makes you feel good about yourself, because I know for sure when I'm recording it, it makes me feel good about me. So that's it. Just put good vibes out there. Keep pushing good vibes. And it's not to say that like I don't enjoy sad music, because I love Adele. Like, I love deep music. I love
Adele.
Yeah, I love me some Lauryn Hill. But that's the way they create their craft, and that's their calling. And I feel like my calling is just like, listen to something that makes you happy. You don't understand the language, but you just know this is good vibes. That's what I wanted.
Love that.
Yeah.
Spreading positivity and good energy
always.
everywhere. I love how Hazel knows that her calling is to make positive and upbeat music for people and to capture those joyful moments that will stick with them for a lifetime. And that she wants her music to be timeless and to carry weight, and future generations of her family will be able to listen back and be like, yeah, I'm related to that woman. Pretty cool. Most of the artists that I've spoken to as well are seeing a lot of success and doing so well because they all have quite similar purposes. They are staying true to themselves through their sounds, but they're also being a platform and a pillar for people that don't feel like they can speak out and don't feel like they can have a voice. So, and it's usually the people that don't get seen a lot within society, don't get seen on screens, don't get seen on socials. And I think being a platform and a pillar for those people, to show them it's okay to express yourself and it's okay to be confident and to love yourself even if you don't see a version of you on the screens, is what really pushes them up more.
I love Hazel because she is just so unapologetically and authentically herself, and she doesn't let anyone tarnish that and tarnish her belief in herself. As you heard at the start of the interview, it did take her until this point to get to that place, but she's done that work and she's found herself, and I think that's so refreshing to see. I am so glad that she was stubborn and didn't try to fit into Western society. I think this really adds to her authenticity, and the fact that she's proud to show off her Malawian roots through her music creates a unique sound within Western society. It is really interesting that when Hazel first moved to the UK and she was creating her sound and building her reputation, that afrobeats and amapiano didn't really have a platform in the UK and in Western society generally. But who suddenly decided that shift? Who was in charge of deciding what is popular and what is not? Obviously the record labels, they get to pick what's cool and what's not, what's hot and what's not. But who within those record labels is deciding that? Who makes that choice? And I'm guessing they don't really have that power anymore now, with the likes of various social media platforms that make music from all around the world easily accessible to everyone. Who decides? Who decides what society likes and dislikes? When you think about it, how are they influencing everyone's decisions? I want to know. Drop a comment if you know. All the philanthropic work Hazel has been doing and continues to do is amazing, and what she's built with Malawian Girls Rock is incredible. She's created a pathway for these women to have a voice and a platform within such a male-dominated society, and showing them that it's okay to speak your truth and it's okay to step out and speak generally. The voices and the ideas and the creatives were already there, but Hazel just helped pave a way for them to be seen and heard, which is just amazing. I had an amazing time chatting with Hazel and catching up with her, and we talked about some other things off camera that we're going to have to definitely do a second episode for in the future. But until then, I hope you enjoyed everything she had to say and all the answers she gave. They were really insightful and just quite refreshing. So thank you so much to Hazel for joining me on the podcast this week. It really was an honour and a privilege, and I hope you all go check out her music. If you want to check out her socials and keep updated with what Hazel's doing at the minute, go onto Instagram at Hazel Mak Music. I'll add her socials in the description below. But thank you again for tuning in, loyal listeners, loyal viewers. I'm so excited that so many people are following the page on Spotify and subscribing on YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and like and comment on the videos to help get the podcast out there. I'm so grateful for the 12 subscribers that I have currently on YouTube, and I can't see how many followers I have on Spotify, but I'm so grateful for you all and for keeping up to date with After the Applause, and long may it last. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you all next time on After the Applause.